everyone, masofdas here, and I'm going to do my sort of Gamer of the Year awards. I'm also going to talk a bit about 2017. Going to kick off with Nintendo. Nintendo's 2017. They had a great one. I didn't play much 3DS. This is why I've changed my awards from past years. I normally do best 3DS game, best Xbox, best PC, etc. Not playing much 3DS, mainly playing Switch. And Nintendo knocked out of the park this year. Coming out in March, normally you'd think that's not a great time. You normally launch a console like in November. Obviously came out with Legend of Zelda, hugely critically acclaimed. If I was giving a most disappointing award, it would be Zelda, but I'm not doing that, and all these are all positive awards. So we move on to for that. Yes, so Zelda came out. Obviously, Mario Odyssey. That sort of ended the year with a big game. For the Switch, you had two sort of like big games at the start and the end of the year for Switch, and then a load of decent stuff in between from Nintendo themselves. So obviously, like ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8. Mario and Rabbids, obviously that was Ubisoft, but with Nintendo characters. And then the indie scene on the Switch has been great, and actually I would say that's most probably one of the bigger reasons to own a Switch. Nintendo games are great, and there's always going to be a thing, but the indie output on the Switch been fantastic. Go on the eShop now on the Switch, there must be 300 or 400 games almost on it as well, due to the indies. And you had stuff like SteamWorld did too. Rocket League's obviously come on it, that's been big. There's things like Battle Chef Brigade. There's hundreds. I could actually be here for all day indies. And third party has been decent for the Nintendo system. Still, obviously there's the argument that their ports, such like Doom, it's a couple years old now, cheaper on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Obviously can't play them portable, so there's that aspect to it. And like Skyrim's like 6 years old, but obviously came to PS4 and that a couple of years ago. So it seems like that third party you could still argue is a bit weak, but indies and Nintendo output it's great. They're 2018. It's going to be interesting because obviously Mario and Zelda are two big titles. Splatoon is pretty big now. You just got to look how it does in Japan. Obviously you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I can't see us getting Mario Kart 9, for instance, next year. I think Nintendo will have a more steady sort of output of games, more like B-tier-ish, unless we do get Pokemon or Metroid. That's going to be the top tier. Animal Crossing could be, a huge one from Nintendo. So I think Nintendo had a great 2017, and 2018 looks pretty good as well. Then we move on to, I believe we're moving on to, PlayStation. I believe PlayStation had PlayStation 4, for instance. Vita on Sony's part is pretty much dead. Like even PSX doing it this year, didn't have Geo coming out talking about it's also on Vita of the indies. PSVR has done pretty well. I think it did over the 2 million that Sony wanted within a year period. So that's good, great. And they're still obviously talking about that a lot. Show some actually decent stuff for VR. But the main thing, if you're looking at the PS4 from like PlayStation perspective, I believe her 2017 is most probably the best that they've had, just due to how well the Switch is doing. Not as many people's talked about it, and obviously Mario and Zelda, these two huge games. So I think if you Switch didn't come out this year, I think PlayStation would be talked about even more than it has been. Some huge titles this year, obviously a new IP in Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is actually a fantastic game. More people need to play that. So there's two, and then obviously support from Japan, like Neo, which Sony published, Nier Automata, Persona 5. Sony obviously has this output of Japanese games and Japanese developers that obviously bring their games quite often exclusive to the system, and obviously their own first party studio. And indies always been big on PlayStation, and obviously that continued like what Razor and Fitch, which eventually did come to Xbox, but is like first on PlayStation. The 2018 on PlayStation looks ridiculous, with Sony announcing so many games so far in advance, which is one of their biggest gripes you could say of them, announcing a game and then don't see it for 3 or 4 years. we know what nearly all their studios are doing, and nearly all their games seem to be planned for 2018. So you have Detroit from Quantic Dream, you have Spider-Man from Insomniac, you have God of War from Santa Monica, obviously you have the MLB game from San Diego. Oh my god, those two mixed up. You got Days Gone from Bend. What else have you got? You got Shadow of the Colossus, the remake for it that's coming in February. You've got, well, I think Death Stranding is a weird one, and a lot of people reckon that's going to be 2019. But I got this weird feeling that could actually be this next year. Obviously, Last of Us Part 2, that I wouldn't say is next year. You got the Ghost of Tsushima game from Sucker Punch. We'll say that's 2019. There's obviously rumours of a From Software title, and then obviously again the Japanese support. Even in January, you had a look at, there's obviously a lot of Japanese games coming. Most are on PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox, but like Monster Hunter's got obviously the deal with PlayStation and stuff. Obviously, it is exclusive in Japan on that. And there's other things like that coming to it. I think PlayStation have a great 2018. It's just how Sony do their game output. And a lot of 2017, they had a lot of exclusives at the start of the year, like Gravity Rush 2, Nier, Neo, Horizon, and they all seem to bundle up with each other. And obviously, I know people that missed things like Gravity Rush 2 due to all the rest and all the games, and they had nothing at the end of the year apart from GT Sport. Mainly, I think, due to how well the games are sold at the start of the year. Like Uncharted and Horizon both have done really well. I mean, Uncharted 4, not Lost Legacy, really well at the start of the year, and they've got no competition from the big boys like a Call of Duty and stuff, and obviously they have the partnerships, so it'd be interesting where they go. So I think Nintendo and PlayStation are both poised to have a great 2018, and I really think the competition is going to be hotting up between those two, even though who won't say they're competing due to how the Switch is sometimes perceived and how obviously the PlayStation is perceived. Then move on to Xbox. Another 2017 of Xbox. The thing I see pop up a lot, and even myself, I've said it before, why I get some hate saying like I'm either a Nintendo fanboy or a Sony fanboy, and that is lack of exclusive content on the system. This year, you know, if you ask most people what came, they would say Forza, PUBG, and they would say those three, and not much else from them. Obviously, you did have other titles. You had Halo Wars 2, for instance, and that was at the start of the year, but it did seem to be start of the year Halo Wars 2, then pretty much nothing to Forza 7. There are other ones like Candleman, which is like a platformer and stuff, Super Lucky's Tale. So there is exclusives on there. This is one of the reasons I didn't do console awards or like platform awards this year, because I've not played all these exclusives that are on Xbox. There is ones, and it would mostly be just PUBG by default due to not a big racing fan, so I didn't play Forza, didn't play Candleman, I should say, which is like it's a sort of like 3D platform. I think it's like a tenner on Xbox Live, for instance, but you can buy Ukulele for that money, and you got Hat of Time. You even got the Voodoo Vince remake. For instance, there's most better 3D platforms, so really weird 2017 for Xbox, but it did fantastic things. I wrote an article on Nintendo about this. I really feel Xbox has got an identity now. I've always thought the problem is for the Xbox One, it's too similar to the PlayStation, and obviously the PlayStation has sold millions, tens of millions more. You've got all the exclusives. I reckon I could mostly count 30 or 40 this year just off the top of my head if I really wanted to. So it always sort of puts the Xbox down, but this year obviously backwards compatibility has obviously been out around a year or two I think now, but seem to be getting more steam this year. They added Xbox original games backwards compatible, really fantastic job with them. And then Game Pass, I've been using that myself recently. That seems a great idea. Also, it's a weird one because it's put me off games like Super Lucky Tale, which has was on a sale the other day for like 10 or 12 quid. I'm thinking, well, do I buy that, or do I just wait until it comes to Game Pass and play it through that, pay 8 quid for the Game Pass for a month and possibly play something else? That's a sort of issue, and I expect other people think like me. I've known people who have thought that before, with like PlayStation Plus with indies. Oh, I won't buy this indie, I'll wait until it comes to PlayStation Plus. But it's really found this identity of like service and community with those two things, and their games to gold's always been pretty decent. Is where obviously you got to pay for all these subscriptions, but it is great, I think. And then obviously they had the One X come this year. They had new hardware, much like Nintendo. And One X, if you've seen on Digital Foundry, think other sites like that, it is a fantastic piece of hardware. I've just bought one myself. I'm waiting for it to come. Looks a great piece of hardware. Again, I feel I'm very much feeling how a lot of people are feeling about Nintendo at the moment. Great new hardware. Obviously, the Switch is this portable device, but for a portable device, it's fantastic. It feels good. It looks good. The Switch, and the Xbox One X is sort of the same. And then games, obviously, Nintendo has always had their own first-party games in the indies, and they had big ones. I mean, Xbox still lacks on the games front, like I said, with the exclusives. Myself, personally, I've bought Assassin's Creed Origins, for instance, and I bought on Xbox instead of PlayStation due to the power of the One X. Moving into 2018, we know Phil Spencer's talked about opening more studios with exclusive, more content. It's also talked about service-based games. I've played a bit of Sea of Thieves Alpha. I can definitely see that being a Destiny-like sort of thing, but with pirates. And there's a lot of things like that. You've got Crackdown to come. But that's really the only two I can really think of off the top of my head, and State of Decay 2 for Xbox moving the next year. But like PUBG came this year. Yeah, I can see that. That's been huge. I can see that continuing to be huge on Xbox. A bit like how Rocket League came to other systems, but it came to PlayStation first and was massive and continues to be massive. I can see PUBG being exactly the same, with adding new stuff like the PC version, keeping people there, keeping the community happy with the multiplayer aspect, and then people like myself or X most probably will start picking up their third parties on games like Assassin's Creed on the system due to the 4K, the textures, resolution and stuff like that. But so it's very interesting, I think, very interesting how 2018 will go for all three companies. I can see it all being very close. I think PlayStation will still have the most games out of all of it. It's just how Nintendo market this, like the Switch and what they do. And then same with Microsoft. If they keep marketing it's like this is the most powerful console, they show off like the huge games like Assassin's Creed. They get partnerships and stuff and like that. So obviously Sony's had the Call of Duties and stuff. And then get like a Battlefield or something next year. Keep showing that on Xbox. It could be good for and get us a few decent exclusives. Continue with the services. They could have a great year as well, keeping the community happy. But actually, let's move into the awards. So I've gone on to nearly 14-15 minutes about 2017 and 2018. So we're going to move on to the actual Game Awards. And the first one we're going to do, like I said, not doing platform awards this year. Going to do more like a genre type awards. I've looked at how the Game Awards did theirs and like the Golden Joysticks and stuff. So the first award we are doing a best esports / ongoing game, because I think they're really two similar things, and that goes to Overwatch. A big Overwatch fan, so basically that's one of the reasons why. But for the first time I can think ever, apart from the Nintendo like World Championship, I was looking for the results for the Overwatch World Cup, and it was like on the BBC News here in the UK about like how the UK's got a chance to win this World Cup, and like how like gaming esports are big and stuff. And the UK went out in the first round, which is kind of typical. And it's like I cared about the esports aspect of the game, and I can't say like Rainbow Six Siege has had a great year as far as I'm aware as well, so that could be considering ongoing game of something before 2017. But I think due to that reasons is why Overwatch got and that sort of thing from me. Then move on to best remaster, remake, port, whatever you want to call it, and that is clearly Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I was thinking LA Noire could get into this, and even Okami HD just come out, but I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the clear winner, is the best version of that game. I was a bit iffy with Mario Kart 8. I played it, bought it on Wii U, enjoyed it. I just thought, yep, there's more Mario Kart. Still prefer Double Dash. But then I played some Deluxe 8 recently, after not playing for a while, and that game is absolutely fantastic. More people should be playing it. As like one of the best-selling Switch games, to be honest. It's a great idea, bringing Wii U games over the Switch. Not many people had a Wii U, so these games get a second life, and Mario Kart 8 seems to be the best example of that. Then moving on to multiplayer, I'm actually going to give this to PUBG. I've got this on Xbox. Not played that much because I was ill during the time it came out, so I actually never really played much of it during the first week. But it's the sort of game you do get better at, but it's not like a Destiny, for instance, with better armor and stuff like that, where you go move so far ahead, as far as I'm aware. Now, I might be totally wrong with this. But yeah, really enjoyed what I did play with PUBG. Especially playing, chatting with mates and stuff on the phone. Like I said, great with the Xbox community. And then how it's done on PC, like it sold like 10, 15 million copies. And it's like 3 million people playing it in one go. And absolutely decimating Dota 2 in like second place on like Steam playlist. It's ridiculous how popular that game is. So I thought I had to give it some recognition, and best multiplayer is what it's getting from me. Then we're moving on to best narrative or story, whatever you want to call it. That's What Remains of Edith Finch. And actually watched an almost complete playthrough by myself on the channel, like an hour and a half. So the game is pretty short. Got all these different sort of art styles in the game, and there's like a comic book one, and there's obviously the more survival horror type deal. It's really good. I can't really talk much about it because obviously the game is so short, and it's all pretty much would be spoilers, but it's a game worth really checking out. It's on PlayStation, it's now on Xbox, it could even be on PC, but I'm not too sure on that. Then we move on to best artistic direction. So this is not best graphics in terms of technical, this is like I said, art style stuff, and that's Pyre. I was actually a little bit disappointed with Pyre. I was talking about Zelda, because Supergiant Games, both of their titles, Bastion and Transistor, really love Transistor, still one of the best games on PlayStation. Love both of them. Came out, not much hype around it, not much talk, it just sort of came out like out of nowhere. Started off really well, and then it sort of peters out at the end. So kind of a bit disappointing. It's like, oh, really fantastic, and it's like, yeah, this keeps going. But yeah, from an artistic point of view, it's nothing really much better than Pyre out there. It deserves some recognition. That's what it's getting. Then moving on to best puzzle. Pure Tetris, basically almost by default, don't play that many puzzle games, play it on Switch, really good on Switch, feels like a decent portable game. I know you can get it on PS4, and I think there's a Vita version if you want to import it from Japan. It is actually an older game, but first in 2017 on obviously in here in the West. Really good on the Switch, found that really fun. Next is best survival horror, basically by default. Best VR experience. Like I said, I didn't really want to do console platform awards, but VR and AR still seems to be a award on its own merits. And Resident Evil 7 is one of the best experiences I had in VR. As you know me, you follow me on Twitter, I've told the channel, I'm huge into VR, did enter VR, and then got the PlayStation VR, really enjoyed it for a brief moment, and then it sort of petered out with me due to the hassle of setup and stuff. But Sony has done a sort of decent job, convincing me maybe to pick up a PSVR again. But if you've got one at the moment or thinking about it, well, Resident Evil is most probably the best thing you can play on it. Obviously, being a survival horror is rather scary, but shows that these proper sort of games, not just little sort of indie experiences, which isn't a bad thing. But if you want like a huge, like 7 or 8 hour experience, they can work in VR. Resident Evil is the best shining light of that. Then we move on to best music, as the soundtrack, songs, obviously the main theme tune of Super Mario Odyssey is great, and also best platformer game. Platformers actually made a huge comeback this year. Obviously, Super Mario Odyssey came out. You had a game called Poi that launched on like the Switch and Xbox and that. Hat in Time just came out. Hearing really good things about that. Ukulele finally came to Switch. There's Super Lucky Tale, that Candleman game. Knack 2. There's actually some really decent 3D platformers, so it's giving it its own award, and Mario Odyssey is the clear winner. It's one of the best games of the year as well. Then move into a weird category where I've just put a load of things together, as in best sport, fighting and racing game. They have one thing common, it's like the competitive nature, but you can sort of like play not online, if that makes sense. How like a fighting game works, a football game, and other sports games like the single sort of screen experience. I've put them all sort of together, and they're all sort of competitive. You can even see fighting games like a UFC as a sport, but I'm giving it to Injustice 2. Really enjoyed the story mode of that. Played a bit of multiplayer and stuff on it. I'm not very good at it at all. And like I said, the other sports, FIFA 17 would be about all I've played sports wise, and racing wise I don't think I've played anything apart from Mario Kart 8, so Injustice 2 basically wins almost by default. Then we move into best shooter, which is Splatoon 2. I was thinking PUBG here, but even though I've enjoyed what I've played, and I haven't played much Splatoon 2, Splatoon 2 is more of what I find in a shooter game, with obviously it has got a single player campaign and it's more traditional multiplayer focused than what PUBG is. I've not played Wolfenstein 2. I hear that's very good. That could be a game that I would have considered best shooter. I did play Destiny 2. I did enjoy it, but I didn't really get into the whole sort of multiplayer team aspect. I knew a bunch of people that wanted to play it, but I was so far behind I didn't feel I was going to catch up. And Resident Evil, even though it is played in first person perspective and you do shoot things, to me that is not a shooter. If anyone thinks that should be there. And then the next one we have got best action adventure, best technical design. So this is sort of the opposite of Pi. This is best sort of graphics, but Tesla, and also best performance for Ashley Birch for a performance as Eloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. So I'm giving a lot of praise to Horizon Zero Dawn. I only actually recently finished it. Came out early in the year, I think about 2 days before Zelda and Switch, and then I just played Zelda and Switch, and by the time I was done with all that, Persona 5 was here, and I just played Persona 5. And then it was like the summer and those games came out. So I played this sort of recently mainly, and it is absolutely fantastic, Horizon Zero Dawn. It's my second choice for Game of the Year, because my actual Game of the Year, and I just talked about it briefly, is Persona 5, and it's obviously best RPG is, well, could be considered up there with the art direction with Pyre, if I have like a second choice of for that. But it's absolutely fantastic game, best game on PlayStation all year. And why I think, like I said, PlayStation had a great year with my first and second choices, 2 exclusives in Persona 5 and Horizon Zero Dawn. Is just most people want to talk about Zelda and Mario, and like I said, they are both pretty decent. I can definitely understand why. But Persona 5, if you have a PlayStation 4, even PlayStation 3, it is on PlayStation 3 as well. Not sure how easy it would be to pick a copy up on PS3. And you even have a remote interest in RPGs, you basically owe it to yourself to play Persona 5. It is that great. It is best 9,500 hours I've played in a video game all year, and possibly ever for that much length of time. Like I can own like Mass Effect trilogy all put together is like 120, 130 hours. But so for that amount of time, I think this is mostly the best game you can play. Anyway, I've been masofdas. I think I've gone on long enough, and I will see you again. I'm mostly having anticipated games 2018 going up soon. For now.